Today on 10 Minute IT Jams, we have Leo Lynch, who is the Director of Sales for APAC for Arcserve. So welcome to the Jam, Leo.
Well, thank you, Nick. Good to be here.
So I want to begin by talking about Arcserve's merger with StorageCraft. You can see in the background of your screen there. So you did that, completed that merger earlier this year. So can you tell me a bit about that and what it added to Arcserve?
Okay, so Arcserve and StorageCraft have both been around in the backup recovery markets for more than 15 years individually in each right. And Arcserve traditionally has been an enterprise, both 100% channel organizations, which is great from a cultural fit perspective. But Arcserve from a product and a customer perspective has been more through VARs to enterprise clients. And StorageCraft has been through different type of channel partners, more MSPs. So 70% of our 2,500 resellers across Australia and New Zealand are MSPs. So it's been more of a MSP monthly selling motion into the SMB mid-market. So they're actually quite complementary in the fact that they're in the same segment, backup recovery, business continuity, but going into different segments and through different partners. And so there hasn't been a lot of crossover, but I think the reaction's been really, really positive. Just recently, Gartner announced Arcserve after the merger as a challenger in their 2021 Magic Quadrant for enterprise backup recovery, and that shifted from the previous year from a niche player up to the challenger. And also IDC says that once the merger has gone through, it will make us in the top 5 global vendors for backup recovery worldwide. So they're two independent companies that see the merger in quite a positive way. And, initially, the customers we've spoken to, they're really positive and they want to just learn more about what's happening and how it's going to affect them.
Brilliant, yeah. So let's talk about Arcserve's end-to-end solution offerings. So can you tell me what are Arcserve's key products and offerings that address the needs of different environments?
Yeah, so look, Arcserve traditionally has been on-premise and a lot of StorageCraft legacy products have been in the cloud, but we try and focus on use cases from a customer's pain point perspective. And so when I say Arcserve, I'll be talking about the whole company now with the integrated products going forward. So for use cases, it's like cloud, hybrid, and then the traditional deployments for all different environments, whether they're simple, down to the desktop, all the way to multi-node environments in the enterprise. But we do things, so we've got DRaaS, so DR as a service, and we actually just moved that from our local cloud in Sydney to Google Cloud. We just did that migration, so that gives a lot better bandwidth than we're seeing in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, where we have a lot of customers. We're actually really good response rates and bandwidth issues really being resolved with that. We also do backup as a service, data protection, SaaS protection. We've got hybrid, converged. In the traditional Arcserve with a unified data protection space, we've also got the traditional StorageCraft one safe storage device. They're actually complementary, and we've found a lot of success, particularly in Europe and North America, where they've been sold together. So bring it together, we can just about do anything. And I know a lot of vendors will say that, right? But we can actually deliver it. And part of the reason for our capability is that we're absolutely keeping our 100% channel focus, which is really important. And we're still very much, we are solely dependent on partners bringing those solutions together and delivering them to our clients, whether they be SMB, mid-market, or enterprise.
Right, yeah. You just mentioned your channel partners. So can you tell me a bit more about how Arcserve currently works with your channel partners to serve organizations in the ANZ region?
Yeah, sure. And look, the great thing is we have direct presence in New Zealand and direct presence in Australia. So we have salespeople in New Zealand, we have pre-sales presence in New Zealand, as well as Australia. And from a StorageCraft perspective, we've always had that. Arcserve hasn't had a direct presence, So now that we're one company, it brings direct presence for Arcserve across the board into both Australia and New Zealand, which is great for channel partners. And as I've mentioned probably 2 or 3 times already, we are a 100% channel focused organisation. But what that means really is at the end of the day, we're aligned with the channel. We won't sell against the channel, we'll sell with in a collaborative channel fashion. So we call it selling with partners. We want to make sure, and we strive to make sure that the margins that our partners get are the best in the market for this category. And we're not maybe as over distributed as some of our competitors, so we can keep that promise or that commitment to our partners. The other things that we're rolling out and we'll be doing for a long time is making sure that our partners are certified, that they have the right resources. One of the things that the Arcserve merger brings for us is we still have local support, but we're now going to be leveraging off support from around the world. And we always had that with StorageCraft, but the Arcserve organisation is much, much bigger from a support perspective and from an R&D perspective. So that's things that we'll be bringing partners to help them sell and take our solutions to market and our services to market.
Right, yeah. So on a more broad perspective, what are some of the key trends you're seeing in the data management, protection and recovery space?
I think one of the key things I saw, and this was actually pre-COVID, but probably accelerated more by COVID, was that people always thought of security over here and backup and recovery and business continuity over there, and they're actually part of the same conversation, because security is about keeping the baddies out, and you can't have perfect defense day in, day out. At some point, someone's going to come in. And usually they're coming from the back. They're coming from internal rather than from external. And when all said and done, you want your data back as close as possible to the breach date or to the breach or the corruption of that data, and you want it quickly. And so I think that the backup and recovery space is going to be far more integrated with security than it has in the past. And one of the great things that the Arcserve merger brought to us was that a lot of the Arcserve appliances come with Sophos already integrated and preloaded in there. So that's always been a recognition in the enterprise space. So we'll be bringing that into different parts of the market. The other thing is obviously cloud adoption. So one of the things that COVID accelerated really was moving to the cloud, and that really helped us. We've seen across Australia and New Zealand more than 30 to 50% growth in our cloud backup for Office 365 and our cloud services, which is predominantly DRaaS or DRaaS as a service. So, you have your 3, 2, 1 with say +1 immutable as, your 3 copies, 2 different media and one in the cloud. That one in the cloud was really accelerated through COVID. We did a survey and we found that 45% of the response, so this was surveys, what's the impact of COVID-19, and 45% of the respondents in Australia and New Zealand noted that they're going to accelerate their adoption to the cloud. So that COVID has absolutely done that. And I don't think that's going to shock anyone, that statistic. That's definitely happening. Now, the further on impact or domino effect of moving into the cloud is that us and other vendors need to also educate, and our partners need to educate clients, customers, that just by putting it into the cloud, whether it's Amazon, Google, or Azure or Microsoft, that you're using a service. They're not necessarily backing it up for you. And I think Microsoft actually say it's your data, you choose to do what you want with it. And so we've been really proactive in trying to educate customers that once you put it in the cloud, that doesn't mean that they're backing it up for you, right? There's certain SLAs around that. And our Office 365 backup for Office has been one of the fastest growing services, as I said earlier. The other thing is that I think this is the new normal. I think that's probably the key thing, right? So we've seen all these shifts, and I think these shifts aren't a blip on the radar. I think they're the trend now going forward.
Yeah, gotcha. And one final question for you, Leo. Looking towards the future, what innovations can we expect to see from Arcserve moving forward?
Yeah, I think, look, so Arcserve obviously has always realized the importance of security and integration with that. And so, you know, I mentioned Sophos. From the StorageCraft side, we've always done great things with MSP providers such as ConnectWise as one of our key alliance providers. So you'll see more and more innovations coming from there. Another one that's coming very shortly in the next 3 months, I think we may have already done a press release, is around a backup recovery appliance that's native to Nutanix. So you see more and more integration with, rather than just standalone backup recovery. And this is being driven by the security issue. Our customers are saying, backup recovery is now part of security, therefore I need a whole package. I can't just be dealing with one thing over there and one thing over here. And COVID, as you've seen, you know, I think there's a breach every 11 seconds now, somewhere in the world. And so you'll be seeing us, you know, trying to address those pain points for our customers more and more. And you'll see a lot more tighter integration between the two legacy Arcserve and StorageCraft products coming together. So watch this space, Nick.
Awesome, sounds good. Cool, well, that's all we have time for today. So thank you, Leo, for joining me today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Pleasure to meet you.